Coming up on this episode of Don't Panic, we have a lot of tech news, including Samsung can't even give away S5s. We also talk about synergy with Amazon, contributors by Google getting free apps, Uber being Uber-Sleezy, and a lot more tech news. It's coming up right now on a brand new Don't Panic. This is Don't Panic, episode number 71, recorded November 24th, 2014. On Synergy, Uber-Sleezy, and no free apps. Hello, everybody, and welcome to an exciting edition of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and you, the show that truly gives thanks for this giving. I am Sean Jennings, and I'm joined by the cranberry sauce and turkey stuffing of technology. They're what the Indians call maize. Ladies and gentlemen, Colby Rabidou and Dan Miller.
What the Indians call amazing is what you should have said,
yes.
To make up for that terrible pun you started out with that I already forgot.
I know. I don't know why I even bothered. The honest problem is I always have something much better than what I actually say in my head before the show. And then I have to push about 20 different buttons in the opening, and by the time I've done all that, my mind is empty.
Sure.
You gotta write it down.
Don't panic. Technology podcast. Dan Miller. I'm just gonna do the show like that from now on.
I like that. We can just literally we can do the whole show panicking instead of not panicking.
Who's dialing the phone?
I hit if you hit the numbers and.
That's so great. I did not know Skype did that.
Can you play a song like that, Colby?
Green sleeves. Green sleeves. I can't wait for the long distance bills on whoever the hell you just called. It's gonna be like, Shanghai or something.
That'll be a joke that none of our children will get. Long distance calls.
Yeah, telephone numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, what's up? What's going on? Excited for the Thanksgiving holiday / massive snowstorm?
Yeah, I'm annoyed that there's gonna be snow. But
yeah, I'm beginning to understand why adults hate the holidays.
Yeah. It's a pain in the butt. I sort of Thanksgiving last year, I just skipped it. I was like, nope, I'm not going. I just stayed in California.
Well, yeah, you had a good excuse. You were awfully far away.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But no, I don't know. It's fine. I don't know what to do. I could try and go home tomorrow. Or I could my sister's not going home till Thursday, so I don't have that guaranteed ride, which I was hoping, but
do you not have your car?
No, I no longer have a vehicle.
Right, your rusted out Jeep.
Yeah, that Ford Explorer.
I'm sure is still chugging somewhere. A death trap for some poor person.
They sold it to a person that lives up the road from them, and they still see it drive by sometimes. Oh man, so it's still kicking.
Dangerous.
Probably
was great. Wonderful. Well, you know what? I think this is enough chit chat. We got to move right into the nitty gritty of the show, which is we do this every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, on your internet at our website, don'tpanic.io. There you get the live shows and the recorded shows. We make them available in HD video and slightly better than SD audio. You can get them on iTunes, RSS, Stitcher, YouTube, all your favorites. And I want to remind everyone out there, we're still doing our sticker pack giveaway. That's right. You, too, can get a free pack of show stickers. Don't panic. Change Mode, Coffee, and Beer. We've got all your favorite hits, and I will mail them to you at the cost of a stamp. That's right. I'll eat that cost so you can have free stickers. All you have to do, super easy, go on Twitter and tweet a message about the show. And all you have to include is two things. One, at Don't Panic Show, and two, the URL of our website, don'tpanic.io. Do those two things in a tweet, send it, and I will make sure you get your sticker pack.
Ooh.
Amazing.
Let's jump into the news. I hope you're prepared. I ask you this every week. Guys, you have a story you want to talk about?
There was one I wanted to talk about. Oh, what do you guys think of the Facebook Groups app?
Yeah.
I haven't really. It doesn't pop up, so I always forget to open it. I don't understand when you'd use it. I understand when you'd use it, but it never like presents itself.
Yeah, there's weird going on because I'll get either duplicate notifications or no notifications. Like I think it's still trying to figure itself out, which I'm sure is just an update away from being better.
Right.
I am so conflicted on the split apps debate. Should you split your apps or keep them all in one? To be honest, I think this group's experience, even in its kind of half-baked first beta form, is like significantly better than what Groups was in the primary app. So,
yeah, I think it's better than the primary app. I don't really go on Facebook anymore. I just go on Messenger.
It's a very like legacy app to me. It's like it's only there because it has to be.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know if are people big Groups users.
I don't know. I mean, I would assume there are groups of people who are big Groups users. Like, obviously, I don't think we are the biggest Groups users. Like, but we could be.
I mean, I think there's good uses for them, but I just like Facebook to me has about 800 features your average person doesn't know about. And I think Groups is I think Messenger was a good example of that until they broke it out into its own app.
Right. Yeah, well, I feel like this sort of thing makes stuff like that accessible, where it really isn't accessible in the main app. It's like buried in the back, in that, like, you know, side menu, the hamburger menu. And, like, no one's going to go there. Yes, the hamburger.
And I appreciate Dan Miller posting in our Don't Panic group.
Yeah.
What did
we can also, I think it requires people to use groups differently. We have a little group, the three of us, for talking about the show, which I think is actually not how most people use groups. Groups would be like, I don't know, the Marist College Band group. It has like 500 people in it, ranging from 18 to 45. And no one really posts there. It's just something you're in. Maybe sometimes someone will like, oh, alumni weekend, come over here, or something like. That's not what groups here. Here it'd sort of be like a WhatsApp or a GroupMe where you'd have a group of your friends that you're talking to, but it's not just messages. It's Facebook posts. It's content and links and videos and pictures with like threaded discussion.
So I kind of feel like it's like privacy lists that people can actually like understand and use. If that makes any sense. Like, I feel like there's a lot of
private Facebook for a group of people.
Right. So I feel like, I don't know, this was something we like talked about. Like, I knew this was happening too. We're getting to the end of like things I knew that were happening. But I don't know. I feel like, you know, I think you would be surprised. Like, I think there are people, like smaller groups of people who use groups for things, like families that just have groups together, or like, I think it's really nice because I don't know. I think that's one of the things I'm just not that interested in Facebook anymore, because I just have so many people in my regular newsfeed, and I don't care that much about them, and I miss, like, you know, the old days of Facebook when it was just the people you were friends with from high school, and that was way more fun. So I feel like this, I don't know, it could be good. It really depends if people start using it. But
what confuses me the most about this is not the fact that this is what they're doing, and no, that. What confuses me is, didn't like 2 weeks ago they bring out an app called Rooms that basically does the exact same thing?
Well, so I haven't used Rooms at all, but wasn't Rooms like more of a Twittery thing? Like, it was like a public, anonymous, possible.
Yeah, I think the anonymous is probably the biggest difference. The reason I see the similarities is it's based on rooms or groups where there's threads and you can post pictures and comments, and you subscribe to groups or rooms. I think you're right. It's not as directly linked to your Facebook, but it is a very similar concept.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like Rooms was one of those like slingshot like experiments that may or may not be. It's
Moonshot?
like moonshot. I don't know.
I thought it's not slingshot.
No, it's Slingshot.
It is slingshot.
You
Slingshot? What?
They're Snapchat knockoffs.
That was.
Oh. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that still a thing? Do people use that?
I mean, it's in the App Store.
Oh.
I don't think anyone ever used it is the problem, but I just it just confused me that they would release these two so closely. Like, if you want, I don't know. See, I don't know why anyone would go use Rooms now, as if they were going to before. Why they would go use it now that there's this great Groups app.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I see your point that they do seem very close.
It just to me it just screams lack of strategy. Is really what it is. There's no high level strategy at Facebook. Every time I see, whether it's Slingshot, whether it's Rooms, and then followed by Groups, they're breaking things. They broke off one thing, they bring it back in. And Colby, please speak. Tell me I'm wrong.
So I think Groups make sense in that it like I said before, like there are all these things on Facebook desktop that are much more visible on desktop because you have more surface area, whereas on mobile they're buried and people use mobile and not desktop so much anymore. So I think breaking out Groups makes a lot of sense. Like, I think it's like as a standalone thing, it makes a lot more sense. Like on mobile, it does.
I definitely agree with
Rooms,
that.
I have no idea about Rooms. I don't. I haven't downloaded it. I don't plan on downloading it or ever using it. I don't.
You didn't download it at all?
No, I didn't. Well, because when it came out, I didn't have an iPhone, and after I got an iPhone, I forgot about it. So I guess I could download it right now.
You could.
It took me about 5 seconds of having a bunch of QR codes in my camera roll to realize I didn't want it. So I said that was enough of that experiment. I'm good. Yeah, so you can get Facebook Groups. It's available in the App Store today. Get your group on.
Get it.
Yeah, see what I did there. Is that still a company?
I think it might be.
I had assumed they would have gone bankrupt by now.
No, they just weren't wildly successful.
Is Zynga still a company?
Barely.
Oh my God! What?
Groupon?
I thought they blew up and then imploded, but am I wrong?
No, they're still going. I mean, even their less successful competitor, Living Social, is still going.
What do I know? I just host a podcast nobody watches. Let's move on. Talk about more news. What story would you guys like to hit next?
Let's talk about the get versus install on the App Store.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing. You may be used on the Apple App Store to seeing free apps. The little button you click on to download it says free on it. And if it's not free, it'll say 99 cents or whatever it costs. Well, you may have tuned into your App Store the other day and noticed that instead of free, it now said get. You now get apps. Apps aren't free. You just get them, or you pay for them. Clear enough for you?
Very clear.
The theory behind why this change was made is that pressure from the European Union and the Federal Trade Commission after all those lawsuits of parents downloading free apps for their kids and then their kids buying $8,000 worth of in-app purchases. These apps technically aren't free because they have in-app purchases. That's the theory behind changing it from saying free to saying get.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean,
I didn't read about that, and then I just saw it, and I was like, what?
Yeah, and it's very subtle. And to be honest, if I hadn't read the story, I don't even think I would have noticed that they had made that change because it is very subtle.
I did notice. I noticed immediately.
You're so good, Colby.
Yeah. I have. While I understand that is probably why they're doing this, I have a hard time sympathizing with parents of the children, because if their children were able to buy many dollars worth of in-app purchases, that means their children knew their App Store password, and again. Why? So
Toby has no sympathy.
I
Just
feel like
bad parents.
the responsibility lies with one of the two parties involved, and it's probably not Apple. But that's
I don't think this is going to make much of a difference.
No, honestly,
legally,
legally.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They don't want to pay out another couple $100 million to parents who got fooled by their children.
Yep.
How sad.
Yep.
There you go. Apps are now they're no longer free. Let's continue on
to you teased synergy. We're going to talk about synergy.
We can talk about one of my favorite words. And Dan, I actually thought of you today, and you'd find this hilarious. I guess Colby too.
Were you innoventing things today?
Well, yeah, two things. One, at the conference, a company tried to tell me that winnovating is a term, and I literally gagged in my mouth. Like, I'm in marketing, and that was too far. The other thing is,
what were they selling? Like, what was the industry?
They weren't even selling. It was a social media conference, and this company makes like industrial parts for like trains and machines and factories and stuff. And they were like, "Yeah, we're pioneering winnovention," and it had like a trademark on it. And I'm like, "Oh," it had like its own logo, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you people!"
I'm gonna look it up.
Shame on you. Yes. Don't get me in trouble. Don't say the name of the company. Although you've never heard of them, I can assure you, unless you're into like pneumatic cylinders. While you're looking that up, we will talk synergy. You remember when Amazon founder and noted crazy person Jeff Bezos went ahead and purchased the Washington Post last year? One of the questions was, what does that mean for Amazon? Well, today we found out that you will get a free 6-month subscription to the Washington Post if you buy a Kindle Fire in the last few years, and if you buy a new one coming forward. You'll also get the app to your existing Kindle via push without your choice. Inside of an upcoming software update, though, you will be able to delete it after the fact. The Post app delivers 2 versions each day, a morning edition and a late edition delivered 12 hours apart. And there you go. After the free trial is up, the Post will plan to charge an additional $1 for another 6 months, and then after that, it's about $3 to $5 a month, with a final price to be determined. It's not available for owners of the e-ink Kindles, like the Paperweight Voyage, only the HD and HDX models of the Kindle Fire.
That's interesting. So I looked up winnovention, and the only result is a Twitter account, winnovention, that has tweeted 3 times. It's a Dutch Twitter account, and it looks like it has something to do with green cars. The most recent retweet is from May of 2013, entirely in Dutch.
That actually might be the same company, because I know they were doing all their social media out of the Netherlands, but yes.
All right. 9 followers.
Wow. Really going places.
I don't have any. Do you guys have any thoughts on the Amazon stuff? I'm not surprised.
No, it's a good follow-up, because we talked about this when they bought it, and we were like, what are they going to do? Yeah. I still think this is kind of an altruistic nod from crazy person Jeff Bezos. You know?
I mean, I honestly think it's a desperation move, and they're just hoping people will pay for the Washington Post after the free trial's up, is what it is. I don't know if he's being a nice guy giving it away for free.
No, I use a nice guy to buy it.
No. Yeah, oh, and by the way, and I'll have to pull this up so you at home can see. Have you guys been to the Washington Post's website lately?
No.
It's horrendous.
Yeah, it's the worst of them all, from what I remember.
It is
the one that has the paywall. You can only see a certain amount.
Well, it's not even that. It's like there's ads on like 4 sides of the screen. There's like
ad block, Sean. Come on.
You know what?
I don't see any.
You know what?
Oh yeah, I was just looking. I was like, I don't see that many ads.
All right. Well, you know,
I'm gonna turn it off.
Yeah, wait till you see the difference.
All right,
hang on. It will blow you away. Yeah, so it's bad.
Oh wow!
3,000-mile test drive on the Hyundai there.
They're all moving so fast.
It's aggressive. But anyway, as I was saying, what is interesting to me is how many people actually are going to care that they now have the Washington Post? Like, honestly, like, I realize it's free and there's some reason to that, but I know personally if I had a Kindle Fire, I would probably try this for 2 days, 3 days, and then probably never use it again, even though it's free. Just because I get much better, much more up-to-date, and much more customized news on things like Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you read your news on Twitter, Sean?
I basically get all my news from Twitter. Now, those links, of course, lead to the Washington Post and, whatever the sites are, but where I initially hit them is on Twitter. I wouldn't go into a Washington Post app to read the day's stories.
No, I don't use Twitter for real news. I'll use it for news that's relevant to the people I follow. But I follow a very narrow set of individuals, really, which is bad. But that's what I want Twitter for. I'll read I will check the New York Times 2 or 3 times a week, maybe.
Yeah. So, do you guys remember a while ago when I started subscribing to the New York Times because I was reading it a bunch?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a somewhat related tangent, but I've since I left California, I've stopped reading it.
Too close. Now you're reading like the San Francisco Chronicle now or something.
No,
Nostalgic?
I just haven't really replaced it. Actually, the real thing, I've been listening to things on the radio way more than like I listen to
radio.
Well, no, like the NPR app or podcasts. What is radio? Podcasts are the new radio.
That's like how your cell phone communicates with the cell phone tower, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But in any case, the other day I went to unsubscribe to the New York Times because like they're tricky because they only bill you like every 3 months, so you have a long time to forget about it, and then it comes back. But I went to unsubscribe, and you can't unsubscribe online. You have to call them.
Smart.
Right.
And I was like, man.
Did you?
No, I didn't call them.
It works. It doesn't.
I don't
work?
have time for that. They can just
easier
have
to
my
just
money
keep
for
paying
another
them.
month or
Yes.
2.
That's why I still have Hulu Plus. I literally tried to cancel 3 different times, and they kept billing me. And so I said, all right, well, I'll just keep Hulu Plus. It works.
That's exactly what happened with my Xbox Live subscription, but like I never could cancel it, so they still keep billing my credit card that expired 2 years ago.
I'm gonna laugh so hard when you get a huge bill from Microsoft.
They're not getting any money. They don't know where I live. Maybe they do. I don't know.
They're listening. They know. All right. Well, that's it for Synergy. Let's move on to another story of Uber. Let's talk about Uber.
All right.
I want to take a specific
big whammy here.
I want to take a unique spin on this because it's not a very nice story. Let's be honest. The executive. Which executive was it at Uber? I have to find who was being
something Michael something.
Emil Michael, who is a vice president.
There you go.
Got in trouble because he said to a reporter that he would hire a team of people to track her and do whatever it took to discredit her. I'm paraphrasing, to be fair. That comes on the heels of a different executive named Josh Moorher, who is the general manager of Uber New York, tracked a BuzzFeed News reporter as she used the service to travel to a meeting using a tool internally they call GodView, which allows the people within Uber to track both Uber vehicles and customers who have requested a car. Despite the fact that their privacy statement says that they won't track you unless, quote, legitimate business purposes. It's caused a lot of controversy online. The reason I wanted to bring this up, and it's up to you guys if you want to talk about this, I think this is interesting, how companies internally protect user information. Now, you've both worked for companies with large customer bases. Would you be willing to share any of the ways your companies protect customer information? You can say no, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
I mean, I'll talk about it. I don't care. I mean, so the thing, I feel like stuff like this happened with Facebook in the earlier days of Facebook too, before they got their shit together and got investigated by the FCC or whoever deals with privacy stuff. Like this sort of, I don't know. I feel like some of this stuff that has been happening with Uber reminds me of some of the really bad press that Facebook got when they were a bunch of 20 somethings who just didn't give a shit, and they were kind of like dicks about everything. And eventually they become legitimate, and you can't be a jerk. You can't be a jerk anymore because you're a real business. That happens. So I mean, at Facebook, and the same thing at HubSpot, we as employees, there were tools available to us to log into people's accounts, but that all those tools were heavily audited. So, if we got a bug report from someone externally, and we couldn't reproduce it, and we had, for whatever reason, had some reason to believe that, it only would happen on their account, we could log into their account. That being said, that was we were not allowed to do it if we knew the person. So, Sean, if you submitted a bug report to Facebook and I got it, I could not log into your account under any circumstances. I would probably be fired within seconds, I would imagine. It was we could do it for other employees, if we asked them first. So it was something my coworker, the people I sat next to would be like, "Oh, Colby, this is weird. Can you look and check it out? You can log into my account." Right. That was fine, but we couldn't just willy-nilly log into people's accounts for no reason, because you would get fired immediately. They take it very seriously now. And it is it's important, because when it's an important tool, because when your software gets sufficiently big and complicated, crazy shit happens, and sometimes that's the only way to figure out what's wrong, and make sure everyone's getting the best experience they can. But it's certainly can be abused if your employees don't approach it with the right perspective. So I would imagine Uber will probably be changing the way they do this sort of thing pretty soon.
Yeah, I would hope, and I think you're right that, if you think about Uber, that is a company that has grown so fast, so quickly, that it's probably in no way surprising they don't have proper systems in place to prevent these kind of things that more established companies have. And I think, Dan sighs.
Here's my point. There are plenty of companies that are probably about, maybe not Uber size, but are pretty big, and they probably don't have these controls in place. They're just not jerks. So you never hear about it.
I think you're exactly right. This guy seems like an asshole. I think you're exactly right. You don't go to a reporter
and say, this is a history of this stuff in the past 3 months, and this could be some person going after him, and everyone's just trying to point out their flaws for some reason. I don't know. But there are so many companies where you don't hear about this.
Yeah.
You never hear about Stripe going after journalists for being critical of their service. Right. Yeah.
I feel especially lately, Uber is kind of...
And even Airbnb, who has to do a lot of political lobbying, they're not being underhanded about it. They're just advertising a lot for their stuff and spending money on lawyers and lobbying, and that's fine. But to imply to someone that you're going to stalk them because of what they've said about your company, and to show up at their when they arrive somewhere because you knew where they were going, that's some next level bullshit
that's
right
just
there.
Showing off. It's
yeah. I feel I don't find it particularly surprising, given the arrogance with which Uber has kind of dealt with their time in the spotlight. Like, they've kind of been acting like a bunch of dicks. Like, which...
We're not mixing words in this episode.
I mean, it's true, though. Like, yes, their thing is cool, and yes, it's controversial, and yes, they're shaking things up. But, you know, I don't know, like, there's only so far you can go without being a jerk about it and still get your way. Like, eventually, at some point, the tide will turn against them, and they'll either have to get their shit together, or they'll you know, I don't know, go the way of MySpace or something. Like, whereas, like you said, Airbnb, I feel like, is a similar, like, very controversial, like, messing with some long-standing established stuff, and lots of people are kind of, like, upset or mixed feelings about it, but they're, like, acting like adults instead of 13-year-olds. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but...
Yeah, and the interesting parallel I sort of draw here is to the tech bubble the first time around. I mean, when you're talking the late 90s, early 2000s, you had a lot of this going on. You had young people who were getting very rich very quickly, leading companies that all of a sudden had tens of thousands of employees, you know, going out and making fools of themselves and embarrassing them and their companies and putting a bad reputation on the industry as a whole. And I think was a problem, is a problem, and is going to continue to be a problem, I think. The reason I wanted to talk about the positive side of the story is that there are companies who do, you know, this isn't something like, oh, every company can just log into your account and see everything you're doing, because I think that's what a lot of people have taken away from this, and that's not necessarily true. Not in every case.
No.
I think almost every technology company has the capability to do that, but I don't know how often they would actually do it.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's more about the corporate culture and the policies, even not necessarily written, but more just generally accepted, that I think impact this the most. So, Uber-Sleezy is a story we'll keep tabs on, and who knows what ridiculous thing they'll do next. But we got to continue on and talk about more news. How about
this? They could get into the international arms trade and have Uber for tanks. Where you just tap where you are. You're about to cause some major destruction, and the tank rolls up, and you can just take it from there. Yeah. And then you're not really that concerned about the damage that the tank sustains, because they're just going to take it back at the end of the day, anyways.
Uber mercenaries for hire. I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Uber being sleazy, did you guys see the Rides of Glory thing?
No.
They briefly posted and almost immediately took down a blog post detailing how their like data analysts had well, to step back a second. So Rides of Glory is Uber's take on the Walk of Shame. So it identified basically people going home from a one-night stand after a night of drinking, and they did all this data analysis of where the most likely rides that were this in what neighborhoods of what cities were
wow, really?
That was, yeah. And so if you Google it, they put it up and took it down right away, but it was on I don't know, it was in it got archived in internet.org or archived, whatever that site is, and sure. So lots of people reposted the archived copy of the blog. If you Google it, it'll come up. But that was just another one that was what were you thinking?
Wow.
But yeah, good times.
Well, let's talk about a more positive story. Why don't we talk about Samsung? Our good buddies at Samsung.
Yay, we love them so much.
We do, and they're top quality products. Well, Dan, what if I told you the Galaxy S5 sold 40% fewer units than Samsung predicted, said to be, quote, piled up in warehouses, end quote. Would that surprise you?
40% more of what?
40% fewer units than Samsung had predicted they would sell, leading to piles of phones in warehouses.
Do we know units of what phone? Or does
S5.
all phones?
S5.
Oh, S5.
Yeah.
That is surprising. Although, yeah, that is surprising. Color me surprised. I would have thought, I don't know, isn't that like the best-selling Android phone? The S whatever it is?
Yeah, well, that's the latest S. Let me throw a wrinkle in that. What if I told you now that the U.S. was the only market where sales actually increased?
Now that is interesting.
Sales were said to be down over 50% in China. Now what? Aha! Now what do you say, Mr. Miller?
Okay, so that starts to make more sense. But what's taking the market in China? Windows Phone?
That's a good question. I don't have a strict answer, but my assumption would be lower cost Android phones and iPhones. Because I think the Samsung, at least in China, is really at an awkward spot because they're not as cheap as... Either, if you're in China, my guess would be you're going to go cheap Android or you're going to spend the money and get an iPhone. Because I think the iPhone has such a cultural cachet there that if you're willing to put in the money, you just go for the iPhone. And Apple has just done bananas in China.
Have they?
Interesting.
That they have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they had a huge launch over there with the 6 and the 6 Plus. So that would be completely my guess. Totally a guess.
Okay. I would be surprised if that was Apple taking away that market share.
What do you think it is? Low cost Android, or Android just alternatives? What
about the what's the native Chinese Android phone manufacturer? Hawaii, Huaw.
Yeah. Huawei.
Huawei. You're right. That is how you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been my guess.
And there's another one too, but you're right that it is those. I honestly could not tell you. This article doesn't say. What it does say is that the mobile division at Samsung is getting a shakeup with changes at the executive level based on some of these tough sales.
Interesting.
Hopefully they'll stop putting all that crap on their phones in the U.S.
Will they learn?
Maybe. I like to think that all the people who bought like S4s finally got annoyed with them and were like, I don't want to do this again.
Well, that's what's interesting, right? Is we saw Apple sell blowing away their past sales with the 6 and the 6 Plus, and then you see Samsung and Amazon Fire Phone, each with their own different problems, piling up in warehouses.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting... I'd be curious a year or two from now to look at the market share numbers and see how they've shifted from where they were even last year. Because I have a feeling that the ground Apple lost to Android, they might be gaining some of that back.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing Apple had going for them this time around was that they were, like, they had a pretty big new feature, and that was that it was bigger, right?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Like, that was a new thing for iPhones. That was, like, that's not a new thing for Android. Like, Android didn't have a new thing this year. And for, because that's the way it's been for a while. So if the only thing keeping you from getting an iPhone was that you wanted a bigger screen, they solved your problem, I guess. But I don't know.
I think the other sort of 1 out of 100 reasons you could pick from, I'm going to pick the one that Apple has regular announcements. You know when they're going to announce their new phones, right? You can time your 2-year contract cycle to buying a new iPhone. I did that. Millions of Americans did that, right? They took their 4Ss that had just turned 2 years old and upgraded to the 6. Samsung, on the other hand, releases 40 phones throughout the years at random intervals. With some have announcements, some are press releases. I think that may be one of the reasons why that I think Apple is creating a culture of this kind of circular, keeping them in the loop, whereas Samsung is just kind of throwing a lot at the wall. And I think that hurts them.
Do people really care about that, though? Like, who really cares about that?
Well, I think people are smart enough to say I want the latest phone. I mean, I always tell people never take the free phone, and the reason why is because in 2 years that free phone is going to be much worse off than the phone you paid some. It's better to put the money up front. And I like to think most consumers are smart enough to realize that, and that's why you wait for the newest phone. Why would I buy the 5S when in a month or two I know Apple will release the 6 because they do it every fall around the same time.
Yep.
That's at least my theory.
Okay.
But what do I know?
Do you know?
Dan, I ask myself that every day. Let's continue on, and we can talk about contributors by Google, Beats,
Nokia.
We can talk about Nokia. Now, I want to point out, this is not Nokia. Now, this is Nokia. Remember that.
Yeah, can you explain what happened there?
So this is what happened. When Microsoft bought Nokia, They didn't buy all of Nokia. They bought some of Nokia. They bought the handset business. What they left behind was the Nokia brand name for certain uses, the software, and all the Android development, though I think they have some licensed right to use it, and some patent stuff. That was mostly what they left. Well, Nokia is using what Microsoft left to release a tablet. Now, what's most interesting about this tablet is that Nokia isn't making it. Now, go with me on this. This is not a Nokia tablet. It's a Nokia tablet.
Right.
And what I mean by that is this is made by Foxconn.
Mm-hmm.
It is merely named Nokia. Nokia is doing the software, but Nokia is not responsible for the hardware. That comes from Foxconn. And potentially...
And what kind of... Oh, it's Android.
Yes, running 5.0 Lollipop with Nokia's custom Z launcher, which is horrific. That sounds like a 90s extreme, like glow-in-the-dark type. Z launcher.
Yes.
Which does some things about getting apps to you when...
Sounds like a Dragon Ball Z episode.
Exactly. I try to explain what's different about it, but I don't even understand it. So as I said, Nokia is partnering with Foxconn to build it. All Nokia does is license the design, the Nokia brand, and the Z launcher, while getting a small cut on the back end, and all the money is made by Foxconn. This is like what Polaroid did in the later years with their digital cameras, as a comparison, where they used the Polaroid name, but they weren't actually made by Polaroid. Some quick stats. It is a Android tablet, as one would expect. 2.4 gigahertz quad-core Intel Atom processor, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage with cameras on both the front and back. It is available for $249.
It's available.
It is available.
Whoa. Are there any reviews out for it?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Not yet. Still too early.
It looks really nice.
It is the N1 from Nokia. So.
It looks really nice.
Yeah, I mean it's a tablet. I mean, honestly,
it has a large touchscreen, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where tablets have stopped exciting me.
Okay. Okay. Tablets is like the ultimate iPad Air for me. I can just go to a place, and if I don't have to do work stuff, I can just take my iPad Air, and that thing is so light. It can do so much. It's really powerful. Someone here, or maybe it was another podcast, the Pixelmator iPad app, you can do like serious photo editing on.
Oh, I didn't realize they had an iPad app.
Yeah, it released it a couple weeks ago for like the new chipset and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really rad. Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe that'll be my pick next time.
If I didn't have an iPad 2, maybe I would get it.
Right.
Actually, Apple, the last software update bump they did like last week or whatever, my iPad 2 actually functions again.
Oh, nice.
So apparently that was a software thing that was fixable, because it is way better now.
Excellent.
It's like, it was real bad. So that's nice. I don't have to get a new iPad.
Terrible business plan by Apple. We'll just make the old devices better. Why do they need to buy new ones? Come on. Should know better.
That has always been Apple's thing, though. Like, back in the day, you bought an Apple computer, you kept it for like 5 to 7 years.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Like, all those people with Mac Pros from 2008, they're still great. Granted, that's a Mac Pro, but I know plenty of people with
They also paid $15,000.
Yeah, I was about to say, and could swap out all the internals.
right. But yeah, I see plenty of people
When
the white MacBooks are just finally starting. I haven't seen one of those in like a year.
Yeah, my parents still have the black MacBook that
Oh wow!
in 10th grade of high school, and it still works. They still use it sometimes. It's cool.
I'll be impressed when I see one of the Technicolor iBooks. That's when I'll really.
Oh yeah.
That's when I really get excited. Those are so funky.
I'll be right back.
Run.
All right. Oh, this is going to be good. While Dan is gone, Colby, let's see if we can get through a story before he gets back, okay?
All right.
We're going to quickly talk about Beats. Now, Apple acquired Beats for billions of dollars not that long ago. The question was, what are they going to do with Beats streaming service that called Beats Music, similar to iTunes Radio and Spotify and all those services? Financial Times is reporting that Apple will add Beats Music to the iOS operating system as a default app starting early next year, which coincides with the Apple Watch release, and probably some update to iOS 8. This adds to the list of apps on your device that you can't get rid of. Colby, does this bother you or affect you in any way? And do you use iTunes Radio now?
No, I don't use iTunes Radio.
Here you go.
It doesn't... Oh, wow.
PowerBook G3.
Wow. Now you're cooking with power.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The good stuff right there. No, I have not tried turning it on. But I have the power supply. Wonder if I can install Linux on it.
Maybe.
Oh, the keyboard's really nice.
I was going to say the only effect this... I suspect this will elicit some mild annoyance when I have to tap and drag yet another app into the folder of Apple apps that I don't use. And then I'll never think about it again.
Yeah.
But...
What app is this?
At least we have folders now. So...
You can kind of make it go away. Dan, we're talking about Beats Music potentially being a permanent part of iOS.
Yeah.
Another one for the dustbin.
I would be okay with that. If it was yeah.
What doesn't make sense to me is I don't know why we need, as a brand guy, I don't know why you need both iTunes Radio and Beats Music. You should definitely fold one or the other.
I think didn't we get a story like that a couple weeks ago that they will be folding Beats into iTunes Radio?
You're right, that was a rumor, but that kind of is. I mean, I guess it does complement this. If they made Beats a permanent app, the assumption would be they would fold it up behind it.
Right. It would just be radio.
Well, it would just be. I have to assume it would be under the Beats brand, no?
I don't know, Sean. You're the marketing person.
I would just say I think Beats has a. I mean, does iTunes Radio have any? I guess iTunes has a brand, but Beats seems a little more hip or exciting. I don't know.
It does, but then their music. No, how many people use Beats Radio?
How many people use iTunes Radio?
No one, but a lot of people use iTunes or know of it.
That's a tough one.
Have used it and have positive memories of it. I would just like to point out this G3 has a 333 megahertz processor with 512K of cache. I like how they pointed that out. 64 megabytes of RAM, a 4 gigabyte hard drive, 8 megabytes video, and a CD drive.
Wow.
All right, you guys are excited.
Yeah, go ahead. Put that up on eBay, Dan. We'll see. We'll see how much it goes for.
Yeah. Okay.
Hilarious. All right. I think that's enough for the news. We got through just about all of it, so that's an accomplishment in and of itself.
For us.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's a good feeling. Let's move on to our picks, and I am going to elect Dan Miller to go first.
Oh, okay.
Because I've heard of this. Which
You've
is
heard of
quite
this?
an
Wow,
accomplishment.
that is impressive.
And I'm curious for your take. So
So last week I mentioned that week was going to be like the crazy PS4 game release week where all these great games are coming out, and one of them is called Dragon Age Inquisition, and I played the first Dragon Age. And Colby, I think you played the first Dragon Age too. Is that true? No.
No,
Okay.
I didn't.
And the first Dragon Age was great. It was basically like a really polished Dungeons and Dragons video game, which doesn't sound that exciting, but done really well. It's great. You don't have to worry about the dice and the dungeon master. You just get the great mechanics of Dungeons and Dragons in a video game. You don't have to worry about all the rules. Great. And then the second one, they were like, okay, and the story was incredible. It was like Mass Effect level. I don't even know what else. One of the best stories in a video game I've ever experienced. And then the second one was like, great. We had this great story and this like really smooth RPG gameplay. Let's remove all the great parts of the story and change it to an action game. And it was awful. It was terrible. It was just the worst of everything. And now I think they have successfully combined both of these. So it's no longer D&D in the third one, Dragon Age Inquisition, but it has a lot of RPG elements. You have like a skill tree, but there are no stats anymore. And some of the actions you take are timing dependent. So if you want to block something, you actually have to press block, but you can pause the game at any point and queue up your actions, or you can just keep it rolling the whole time and sort of play third person. It's a lot of fun. The story is incredible. The graphics are beautiful. If you like getting invested in characters and building a story, Dragon Age Inquisition is great. And then last week there are other Far Cry 4 was supposed to be really good. Something else came out. Grand Theft Auto 5 remake came out. Yeah. So it was a great week for PS4.
Nice.
Sean is shaking his head in disbelief.
my mic was muted, Dan, because I didn't want to hear you some of my refreshing. Thank you, Dan. Very good pick, and I recommend everyone out there, if you're going to buy the game, go to our website, don'tpanic.io, go to the show page for this episode, and there will be a link there.
Yes. Even if you want to buy the digital download, you can get the digital download through Amazon. So you can use your Amazon gift card, your Amazon like credit card points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get the kickback. So
you have to type the code into the PS4, but it's a trade-off of saving money.
Yeah. And it helps us. To date, we've earned about $3. So,
oh wow!
And that pays like
Woo!
some of our expenses. So we appreciate it.
How much did that domain cost? The .io.
$50 a year.
You know, they just emailed me that coffee and .beer is available, and it's like $50. And I've been sitting waiting, and I'm like, coffeeandbeer.tv wasn't even cheap. But anyway, we'll get into a whole domain names. These new ones are ridiculous.
Yes, they are a lot of fun.
Can we go on a very short video game related tangent?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Dan, are you going to buy Far Cry? And
I thought about it. I've heard good things about the co-op in like
oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep playing Dragon Age until I finish it.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're gonna buy it, I can be convinced to take a break from it.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll check it out. I mean, either way, I'm going home for Thanksgiving, like either tomorrow or Wednesday, and then I won't be playing for like until next week. So,
right,
we'll see. I'll do some research.
Yeah, do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Good tangent, Colby. Good tangent.
Thanks.
I'm going to jump in and go next, since Colby took some time. I'm going to jump in. I have two picks. I'm going to cheat. But I have good justification because one is time sensitive and I've picked it on the show. I picked it last year at this time. How many people here, out of the two of you, are excited for Black Friday? Raise your hand. Come on,
No.
put it up there. Yes. Okay. I'll take it, Dan. Thank you. You're going to sit outside at 4 a.m.
You
in front
mean
of your
Black
local Best Buy.
Thursday? Have you seen the Target commercials?
Yeah.
No, Colby, it's Cyber Thursday. Bring it back to the original Norse days.
I like it.
And the good news, Colby, is you live in Massachusetts. Thanks to blue state laws, stores legally can't open on Wednesday. So, thanks, Puritans. And the reason I'm telling you this is because Friday is Black Friday, and there are sales going on all week. I picked it last year. I'm going to pick it again. bfads.net is my personal choice for best Black Friday site. They have all of the ads on their website, all of the top deals. They update you, especially as new sales come up, especially online sales. You can get them all there. You can make a shopping list that you can print out and take with you when you go and sit in a lawn chair for 6 hours. It's a really great website. If you're into Black Friday shopping or looking to get a deal, there's some really good values. Really good values on tech stuff if you're into technology, and I hope you are if you're watching. bfads.net
Cool.
is my re-pick. But my new pick, I was on the fence about new keyboards in iOS 8. I said, how are we going to make this not stupid? There's a great GIF keyboard I use, which I love, because I'm not into the whole swipe or anything like that. I never Swift key and no. So today I picked up a new app called DrawType, DrawType, DrawType keyboard. And it's kind of exactly what you expect. It's a keyboard that, and here, let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'll go into my keyboard and flip through them until I get to this one right here, and I'll show you at home what I'm looking at. And it just says draw something right here. And then, amazingly, with my finger, I can draw a picture of, I don't know what that is. And I will say, they actually use a really kind of cool pen effect when you're drawing. And you can choose from colors, you can put some text in there. Here, I'll just say hello. And you can doodle right on there. And then it's one tap. You just tap the button. You say copy. And then you paste. And it pastes the image right in your message. You hit send, and it sends it as a picture, and it's that simple. It's a really fast and easy way to send friends or family little doodles and drawings. Right from the Apple keyboard, which is what I like. So you can use it with iMessage, or because it copies the picture to your paste bin, you can use it in Facebook Messenger, or essentially any service that allows you to paste in a picture. So I don't know. I'm all between GIFs and drawing, and I'm all for this kind of fun new keyboard stuff. It's actually a good way to use new keyboards. It's called DrawType. It's 99 cents, but I think that's really reasonable for a fun way to kind of doodle and draw and send your friends little goofy doodles. So, DrawType. It is available on the iTunes Store today.
Ooh. Oh, nice.
All right, Colby. Why
My
don't you
turn?
talk to us about the Valley?
Yeah, so my pick is also a game. It's called Monument Valley. It's like an iOS game, I think. It is, yeah, it's available on Google Play for Android and also on the Amazon store. But it's kind of a puzzle game. It's really hard to explain. It's basically a puzzle game, and you control this, like, it's very, like, kind of surreal. It's a little artsy, and, like, the visuals are pretty surreal and really cool. But the best way I can describe how the game works is it's basically like an MC Escher painting, like, you know, with the stairs that go all the crazy ways, and like things connect in ways that they can't actually connect in the 3D world in which we live. That's basically how this game works. Like, it's there are various things that you can, like, move around and, like, rotate, and, like, when you rotate and things overlap, even if they're like in one view they were on like clearly in different places, like when they overlap visually, they overlap physically, so like the girl can, like, walk over them. And that is a terrible explanation of why this is cool, but it's really cool, and you should try it. I think it was like $2 or something on the App Store, but it is totally worth it. it also has really cool like music and sounds. Like it's neat. So I spent like when I first bought it, I spent like 2 hours just laying on the couch playing this game on my phone. And then I finished the game and I got the DLC like in-app purchase that they have. So if you're into like kind of low-key puzzle-y, it's not super intense puzzle. Like you won't get frustrated and throw your phone on the ground and never play it again. It's like it's not that hard, but it's a pretty cool experience. So I would check it out because I had a pretty good time. They also like you can like order prints of screenshots in the game, which sounds stupid, but that like it looks really cool. It's kind of like I don't know, a work of art in and of itself. Like it's really neat. So worth playing.
Cool.
I can't hear you, Sean.
I keep muting the mic because I don't want to make noise while you're talking. Thank you. Just shout at me. I played the video for people watching the video stream, so you get an idea of what it looks like. It is a beautiful game. It's available for iOS, Android, and Kindle Fire, $3.99. A worthy purchase. And Colby, you have a pretty good track record, I'm going to say, when it comes to games. You turned me on to what was the Faster Than Light, which was...
Oh yeah,
that was a fun one. And there's a couple others, so I'm definitely going to give this one a shot. I hope you haven't let me down, but I don't think you will. It looks really good.
If you buy it in the Apple App Store, they donate to the Bono charity this week.
Oh yeah,
and you get a crazy red app.
Yes. On a related game note, Sean, did you ever play World of Goo?
I started it, and then I got frustrated, and I never played it.
World of Goo is like one of my favorite games
That's
ever.
An all-time,
it's so
all-time,
good.
Yeah.
Because it's got the puzzle, and it's got the fun, and it's got the like wacky yet weirdly relevant story. It's real great. Real good. I like it. So that's my second pick since Sean had two picks. World of Goo.
Yes, very good. Awesome. Well, that concludes our show. Woo. That was good. That was efficient. That was very very right on the line. We didn't go too crazy.
On time, on schedule.
On schedule.
Hurrah. Oh yeah.
That was by far our most kind of regular professional deal. So we explained the news. The people learned a thing or two. I got to say synergy. So overall, I think it was a good episode. Very good. Well, I want to remind everyone out there that don'tpanic.io is our website, at Don't Panic Show on Twitter and on Facebook. Be sure to follow us because I post when new episodes are available. I post about contests. I post when the show is live. And I'm gonna make this commitment on the show that I told myself. As we ramped up this whole thing, I said, we're going to do all the production values and everything, and then I'm going to worry about getting us social media and doing all that. I'm going to start tweeting more and posting more and doing things. So that's my commitment. I'm going to try. I won't, but I'm going to try.
Your commitment is that you're going to try.
Yes, that's you won't get much more out of me than that. So be sure to follow us there. And, of course, don'tpanic.io is our website. We'll be back Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific with another live episode. Is there anything you gentlemen would like to plug before we leave?
I don't think so.
Snow is dumb.
Yeah, snow's dumb. Now, I'm assuming you guys are traveling, so we're not going to see a change mode this week.
No.
Yeah,
okay.
No,
Which is
not.
I'm also traveling next week.
Oh.
And I'm taking a red eye back. I mean, I'll be here on Monday. Yeah.
Sean said.
I'm crushed. That's all right. People should go back and watch old episodes at changemode.de. Very good. Well, thanks to all of you out there for joining us. We appreciate you doing that. We'll see you next week right back here with a brand new episode of Don't Panic. But until then, good night. This show is brewed fresh weekly by the Coffee and Beer Podcast Network. Get all our shows at our website, coffeeandbeer.tv.